The Munich Square massacre echoed across Europe. It became one of the most well-publicized witch trials in German history. For many, it was a triumph of justice at first. A later observer wrote that nobody doubted the Pappenheimers were instruments of the devil, and their brutal execution had saved their souls. The crowd believed the law had done its duty. Duke Maximilian claimed the executions restored order and proved his devotion to faith. But as time passed, whispers of doubt began to grow, creeping into courtrooms and scholars' chambers. How could confessions wrung by torture be true? Legal minds questioned the validity of justice when agony was the only evidence. And the people they named? Often nobles, clergy, officials. Quietly, the Duke halted the hunts. He blamed irregularities in the legal procedure. Even his courts could no longer pretend the horror had been justified, but no one was held accountable. Johann Wagnereck, who orchestrated the trials, continued in government. He was rewarded, not punished. A system that should have defended the innocent had instead crushed them. Modern historians are harsher. One bluntly calls the trial a trumped-up charge of witchcraft. They agree. The family was tortured into admitting completely unsubstantiated crimes. In the end, the Pappenheimers were burned alive before a cheering crowd. Not for what they did, but because fear ruled the law. That fear turned Munich Square into an altar of ash. Even today, standing in that square, there's a silence, a stillness that clings to the stones. The tale of the Pappenheimers is told in hushed tones, a caution carved in blood and fire. If fear is allowed to twist the law, then truth dies screaming. The innocent burn, and we are all left haunted. Justice demands more than belief. It demands courage. Munich, July 1600. The cathedral spires catch the first light of day. In the city square, a crowd gathers, nobles, beggars, priests, drawn by whispers of a gruesome spectacle to come. Near the gallows, 4 people stand trembling: Paulus Pappenheimer, his wife Anna, and their sons Michael and Gumprecht. Shackled, broken, accused of witchcraft and murder. To the side, a boy, 10-year-old Hansel, sits in a small cart. His hands tremble, his eyes dart. His family is about to die and he is forced to watch. When the bells ring, they don't signal salvation, they scream. One chronicler called the scene a triumph of Christianity over Satan. The crowd bursts into hymns. Pamphlets fly from vendors' hands. Stories of sorcery, murder, devil worship. The city square hums with excitement, but beneath it, a dark dread simmers. The Pappenheimers weren't aristocrats. Paulus cleaned privies. Anna was a widow. They roamed, worked odd jobs, lived quietly, until one lie ended it all. A criminal caught for robbery begged for mercy and gave names. He accused Michael and Gumprecht of murder. He blamed them for crimes no one could prove. Bavaria was ripe with fear. Vagabonds, fires, witches, every shadow held a threat. Duke Maximilian, eager to stamp his rule with holy fire, found an opportunity. He called for a crackdown on the infernal arts. Panic rose, rumors replaced facts, and the Pappenheimers, poor, Lutheran, outsiders, became easy prey. They were dragged to Munich and locked in the Falcon Tower. No trial, no defense, just an accusation and the Duke's approval. One historian put it clearly: they were accused of witchcraft and murder and tortured until they confessed to unspeakable, unsubstantiated crimes. There was no evidence, only the word of a desperate man and a ruler who needed someone to blame. Justice had already chosen its victims. In the prison, mercy ended. Anna, Michel, Gumprecht, stripped, chained, stretched on racks. Hot pincers tore into flesh. Screams echoed off the stone. A scholar later wrote, "They were stripped so their flesh could be torn off by red-hot pincers." The goal wasn't truth, it was submission. Paulus came next. An iron cap was clamped to his skull. Then the wheel, every bone shattered by hammer blows. Still, he said nothing. Then they impaled him. The sharp stake pierced his body. The blood ran. But the confessions hadn't come yet, so they tortured more. Outside, Hansel sat frozen. Just hours earlier, he'd whispered, "What a grand wedding for my father and mother." Now he knew this was no wedding. Anna was dragged out again, bleeding, barely alive. Executioners smeared her wounds on her sons' faces, a final mockery of love, of family, of hope. By dawn, the Pappenheimers broke. They confessed to killing babies, consorting with devils, casting spells. None of it was true, but the pain was real. July 29th, summer heat. The square is packed again. 2 wagons roll in, heavy with stakes and firewood. The condemned are led forward. Paulus walks, bloodied but upright. Anna clutches her sons. Michel and Gumprecht limp, their knees broken. Chains rattle with each step. They are tied to the stakes. The executioners move with methodical cruelty. Flames catch, smoke rises. The air thickens with the smell of death. Michel and Gumprecht scream as their shattered limbs are consumed. Paulus howls as iron drives into his chest. Anna burns, writhing in agony. Hansel watches, silent. Tears pour down his cheeks. He doesn't speak. He can't. His whole world has become ash. By nightfall, nothing remains. 12 people would die as a result of the trial. The crowd disperses, leaving only embers and silence.